Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. And welcome to another episode of Glass Half Full, a podcast and a safe platform where we talk with a variety of teachers, entrepreneurs, spiritualists, uplifters, givers, shakers, and serenaders. Everyone has a lesson to learn and a lesson to share. Let's use our life experiences to enrich someone's heart, mind, spirit, and soul. Through sharing our experiences, we can be a learning inspiration for one another. I'm your host, Chris Levens. Let's welcome today's guest. Today's guest is Mr. Damon J. Shearer. Damon is currently the theater arts teacher at High Tech High School in San Diego, California, USA. Damon is also a seasoned performer, entertainer, and friend. Let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Damon Shearer. Hi, Damon. Thanks for being our guest today.
Hi, Chris. It's so good to be here.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Won't complain.
Is it morning, evening, afternoon?
It is evening here in California. Well, night, really. We're past the evening, but we're here in California. It's like 8:00 p.m.
Okay. It's the bedtime hour.
Yeah, it's almost the bedtime hour.
Well, we are pleased to have you here as a guest. Thank you so much. And we're going to just jump right in if that's okay.
No worry. Yeah, let's do it.
With all my guests, I like to ask in the opening question about our lives, that they are in spiritual design. So can you share your life layout or your blueprint with everyone? Meaning how you grew up, where you grew up, family life, a two-parent household, things like that.
Yeah, for sure. I was born in Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, Detroit.
To a pianist and a bar waitress at that time. That's what they were doing.
Wow.
I'm actually the product of a kind of weekend fling. So people's lives being, these spiritual blueprints, that's definitely the case for me. My parents barely knew each other, but God had a purpose for that.
Amen.
They then married for a little while. I'm one of 5 children.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the middle. I have a very complex and complicated family situation, but they divorced when I was quite young, and I kind of grew up in what I thought was just kind of a normal mixed family. I had step parents, and my older brother and sister lived someplace else, and me and my younger brother lived someplace else, and that was just kind of our norm. I went to the Detroit High School for the Fine and Performing Arts.
Nice.
That's where I studied theater. I started acting when I was about 8 years old. My stepmother was an actress, and so I got introduced to the theater that way. I then went on to college. I went to Calvin College in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I studied theater there. And then I moved to Japan right after graduation and taught English. That's where I met you, Chris.
Yes.
I have also recorded an album, one that you helped me work on, and I'm always internally grateful for that.
My pleasure.
Able to do some television work and some other things in Japan, and then I moved here to San Diego about 10 years ago.
Wow, has it been 10 years?
It has been 10 years.
Oh my
Can you believe that?
No.
It's been 10 years. It'll be exactly 10 years in August.
Wow.
That I moved here to San Diego. It does feel like just yesterday, right?
Yeah, it doesn't seem that long. Like that's a large number.
Yeah. And that means that we've been friends for a long time.
Oh wow. No.
You and I have been friends for a very long time. And then I started teaching as a teaching artist here in San Diego, where I kind of taught through conservatories and different theater companies here while still performing. And then very recently, I decided to do teaching full time and I started working at High Tech High. I just completed the last bit of my coursework and exams to become a fully credentialed California teacher.
Wow,
So
congratulations.
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. So, yes, come on, applause.
Yes.
That was a long road, but it's done now. And so that's where we are.
Wow, that's great. That's really like around the world and back.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Wow. Awesome.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And congratulations for those credentials.
Thank you.
It's a lot studying while you're working and doing things. So definitely congratulations. Can you tell me that what's been one of the biggest struggles or defining moments in your life?
I think some of the struggles weren't always the thing that defined me. The struggles weren't always my defining moments. It was actually kind of the struggles often led to me finding these defining moments in my life, and they've always been times when I have seen that blueprint that I've had to stop and look back over how much how much I've been blessed and how far I have come from where I grew up and the things that I was told that I would be able to do. So those have been my most defining moments. And when I was thinking about this earlier today, I think the defining moment for me has been always my decision, these moments when I decide to move someplace. So, moving to Japan changed my life forever. It introduced me to a language and a culture and a country that I now consider my second home. I grew and blossomed, spending my 20s in Japan in ways that, in retrospect, I can't imagine who I would be if that hadn't been,
right,
my experience. And then that fateful decision to leave Japan and move to San Diego. If I had not done that, I wouldn't even know that I could combine my love for theater and this calling that had been placed on my life to teach. Something that I have fought tooth and nail, honey, tooth and nail for many, many years. But if I had never come here, I wouldn't have known that was possible. I took a trip in 2016 around the world.
Yes.
We can talk about that later if you want to, but I do remember there was a moment on that trip when, and I think this was a defining moment for my life to this point, and kind of the way that I'm living my life right now, was when I realized that your ego is never satisfied.
All right, now.
You'll never have enough money. You'll never have enough fame. You'll never have enough anything. If you're always chasing, wanting more and more and more of anything, you'll never be satisfied.
That's so true.
There's never enough. And so if that's the case, then when you stop chasing those things, you actually realize that you have everything that you need.
All right, now. Yes, that's true.
And so,
and maybe even more than you realize.
And most times more. And so when I got to that space where I was able to realize that a lot of the things that I had been chasing, a lot of the things that I've been thinking, oh, this is what I really want to do because of whatever reason, I'd come to realize that really I was feeding the ego monster. And when I decided to stop doing that, a lot of things got a lot clearer for me. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that went deep and beyond of it.
Yeah,
we have to be careful about that ego. You know,
Yes.
it's something that a lot of people, some people have no idea what we're talking about. And some
Yeah.
people know very well that it jumps in, and we have to know the difference between when it steps in and when we need to
Yeah.
feel like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I don't need to be thinking this way, or I need to step back a moment. So it's something that is definitely, we have to be careful. We have to be careful
Yeah.
of, or be aware of, I
Yeah.
should say.
Yeah. And, it dawned on me in an analogy of a house, right?
Hmm.
We need to have shelter. And so once we have that shelter, we should be satisfied, right? But
Yes.
then, you're like, I really need another bedroom. I live by myself, but I need another bedroom. And so, because this bedroom's just full of stuff, like I need another bedroom. And so you get a bigger house, and then you fill that bedroom. And then you're like, child, my house is full of stuff, honey. I need some more rooms. And then your house keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you always fill up that house, and you never don't. You always need more space, right? And so that's when we start to move away from that need. Like, I just needed shelter, right? Now I have a 10-bedroom house, and I live by myself, and all these rooms is full, and I'm trying to find in a bigger house. Like, when do you stop? And so that analogy kind of came to me on my trip, and
I love that.
It really impacted me for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And it's explained so well that people can get it. If they have no idea about it, they can easily get that analogy. Break it down, Sensei. Do it, teacher.
Listen.
Yes, do it, teacher. Let them know. So during all of this time with what happened last year with 2020 with Miss Rona coming in and making the whole world sit down, how did that affect you? Being a teacher in a public school, living in California where there's beaches and being outside, the weather is part of the culture and living out there. How did this affect you, or how has that played on your current life now?
I've been very fortunate that it didn't affect my job and my livelihood. I work at a charter school that is well established and well funded, and so there weren't any cuts to our staff or anything like that. And
can you explain what is a charter school for people who are listening?
A charter school is a public school that has, for lack of a better term, made a contract with the State Board of Education in order to still offer public and free education, but to be able to do that in their own way. They've kind of decided they have a new way they want to try to do education, and so they have to prove to the state that they can meet certain types of requirements, and then they can form kind of a nonprofit that is a school. So High Tech High is technically a nonprofit. It is a charter school system. There are 16 different schools in the High Tech High charter school system. It's now 22 years old. And its kind of claim to fame is project-based learning. So students don't take tests. They don't take tests.
I should have been there.
There's not any real homework scheme. And so students kind of learn their subject by doing a project, they learn physics by building a bridge or whatever.
Wow. So it's really hands-on.
It is very hands-on.
I like that.
They learn about writing by creating a community newsletter, and they have to go out and interview people in the real community, and those kinds of things. So
that sounds fun.
And theater fits very well into project-based learning. Theater itself is project-based learning. The only way you really learn how to perform and put on a story and put on a play and tell a story is to get up and do it, right?
That's true. That's true.
There's only so much you can learn from reading it in a textbook. You kind of at some point have to get up on your feet and just try it. So theater fits really well into that system, and it wasn't something that was difficult for me to kind of fall into.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, my job was very secure. However, how in the HE double hockey sticks do you teach theater online?
I know, right?
Challenge.
Please do shed some light on that for us. How does this work?
Became my challenge. That became my challenge. And I'm grateful to the charter school system and to the idea of project-based learning, because instead of having to still squeeze my curriculum onto online learning, because if I was teaching at like a more traditional school, there would still be these kind of curriculum points that I would have to hit.
Yes.
But because I'm at a project-based learning school, I'm able to just design a project, right? And so I was in the shower where all great ideas come.
Let the water on this with the water running. I know that's right. It's true.
There's principles of project-based learning, and one of those principles is authentic audience.
Okay.
And so I was just like, how do I, a monologue, them studying monologues doesn't mean anything. Us watching plays online doesn't mean anything. Like, how do I get them an authentic audience? And I was suddenly like, YouTube. YouTube is an authentic audience.
Oh, okay.
People would watch them on YouTube.
True. It's true.
And then suddenly my mind just opened up, like, these kids do TikTok and they're on their Instagram stories and they put on little skits. They don't even know they're doing it. They play characters they don't even know they're playing. And so I kind of tweaked my theater class into a little bit of a film class.
Oh, nice.
And they made short films for me. That's what we've been doing for the last year and some change.
Wow.
My students have been making short films, and it kind of started with just like short sketches, because I wasn't even sure if it was going to be good or if it worked, you know? So they started with like little comedy sketches, and that went really well. And so then we did some shorter films, and so that went really well. And so now they're doing a kind of a longer form short film.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so fun. I mean, who wouldn't be rather doing something like that compared to actually having to do some other stuff? Like, that sounds super fun, and they can get a lot out of it. Wow.
Yeah, and that still, puts them in the place of creating something, right? Having an audience in mind when they create something.
True.
And then, collaborating together. So I don't do anything. They have to do it all. They write their short film.
Yes.
They shoot it. They edit it. They choose their music. They choose the tone and coloring and all that stuff. They have to work together.
Wow. One-stop shop. Okay.
Yes. I just guide them, My question is always, did you Google it first? You didn't Google it yet? Okay, go Google it. And if you still can't find the answer, now you come talk to me.
You know what? With today's times, you're right. Go ahead. Go and Google it. Before it used to be like, did you look it up? Did you go to the dictionary?
Yeah.
Did you look up the word?
Right.
Now it's like, go Google it.
Yeah. So it's fun. So as far as my work is concerned, the Rona has only pushed me to be more creative.
Wow.
Right?
That's a blessing.
The Rona has been the mother of my innovation.
Yes.
As far as personal life goes, I mean, if I thought I was kind of introverted before, I'm really introverted now. Because I really have learned to enjoy the quiet of my own space.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Let me tell you.
As outside is opening up, I'm finding myself being outside around a bunch of people and being like, y'all are loud. I think I'm going to go home and read a book.
Right.
So trying to ease my way back into socializing again. But yeah.
Understood.
I can't complain. There's so many people who have been affected in such adverse ways.
Yes.
My family, we lost several people to the virus and to the pandemic.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear that.
And Yeah, and burying people that you didn't ever think you would have to bury this soon, and those kind of things I've also experienced.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what has been helpful for me is to remember that when it's all said and done, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I once again I have to look back and just see how extremely fortunate I am.
Yes.
If this had been 2 years ago, right, the job that I had prior to this, if I was still a teaching artist, I was still working contract to contract. If it had been 2 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to feed myself.
Wow.
And so just being able to count my blessings of like being put in the right place at the right time.
Amen.
To keep me, I can't complain,
Yes. Being grateful. I tell you, it's one of those few things people forget about right off the front. Going to gratefulness will change any mood, any feeling. Just having a chance to think that somebody has it worse than what we're dealing with, or someone is having it worse currently in what we're dealing with. So just taking that moment to realize that I'm grateful to be where I am. It's definitely a humbling feeling that happens and just changes the mood. Wow, that's good. Yeah, I've heard some stories from others, and, everybody, it's a mixed bag about what's been going on. So I'm happy to hear that you've still been blessed and that things are well for you for all that's happened from last year to bringing into this year that's happening.
Yes, yeah.
Can I ask you, do you live in the now of life?
I want to. But
That's honest.
If I'm being really honest, I think I live in the future always.
Okay.
I think I still struggle with being in the now. I definitely don't live in the past, but I'm always thinking about the next thing, the next move, the next place. My name is Damon, so it's spelled Damon. And my father told us when we were younger, he told us what our names meant. And my name, by the way, means loyal friend. It is Greek.
Oh, wow.
And he said that he chooses names because they're prophetic. And he says, you match your name. And then I said, Dad, have you ever spelled my name backwards? And he said, no. And I was like, yeah, spell it backwards. And my name spelled backwards is Nomad. And so
sweat.
I move a lot. I'm always, my feet itch if I'm someplace too long. And I said, so that prophecy went two ways, Daddy.
That's great.
So, unfortunately, it's difficult for me to kind of plant roots someplace. I always want to let the breeze take me.
Nice.
There's something that feels freeing in letting the universe take me where it wants to take me. And so I think that's why I don't necessarily live in the present, because I'm always like, ooh, where's the next breeze?
Yeah, right.
Where are we going next? What's the next adventure,
Which is exciting, definitely.
Yeah.
Which is definitely exciting.
But I definitely think there is value in living in the present, right? And being able to stop and be grateful for the present, right?
Yes.
Not only does it change your mood, but I actually think that the more you show gratitude, the more things you receive to be grateful for.
That is so true.
So I am in the practice of trying to stop and live in the now.
I think this is a general thing with lots of people, that living in the now is kind of hard. Either people are mostly stuck in the past or are in the present. I think when you ask this question to people, they have a moment like, am I living in the now? Like, am I? And I think it's something that we just need to become aware of, just to become aware of, to enjoy the moment as it is, to take that breath and that step and to feel the air and the breeze and just follow into the moment without trying to overthink it. without trying to overthink it. Sure. So it's a learning experience definitely across the board, something that I continue to work on as well, depending on what's happening in my life. To be present is something that definitely is important. In closing, I'd like to ask, is your glass half empty or half full?
I think my glass is more than half full.
Okay.
I think my glass is pretty full right now.
Okay.
I am so abundantly blessed. I'm always a glass half full type of person. That's kind of who I am as a person. I try to focus on the positive of things, but to say it was only half full would be an understatement of how full I feel right now. And part of that is being able to talk to you and being able to talk to your listeners and knowing that there are good people in the world who just are able to connect in some really meaningful and positive way. That fills my cup.
Yes. We say the cup runneth over.
Yeah, don't make me shout on your podcast.
And I don't even have the little dim 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 dim. I have to add that in there, boy. Yes. Hold on to something and take it. Well, in closing, I would like to ask, do you have any final thoughts for any of our listeners today?
Yes. It's something that I say to my students all the time, and that is kindness is free. It doesn't cost you anything to be kind to someone, but it is worth sometimes more than gold to who you're being kind to.
Yes.
So be kind, and not because you want something back, but just because it's free. It's free to give, and it's a good thing to give out. So kindness is free. Go be kind to someone today.
It's true. Be kind. Pay it forward. Pay it forward. I say that about hello as well. Like, it's free. Yeah. We don't get anything or anything but simple satisfaction of sharing a little bit of joy. So I think that's awesome to feel that. Yeah. A little sharing goes a long way.
Yes, it does. It does. It sure
Excellent.
does.
Well, I want to thank you so much for taking some time out to be here as a guest on Glass Half Full. And can you tell everyone how they can reach you if they're interested to find out more information about you or follow you some way?
Sure. I use Instagram quite a bit. I'm Damon J. Shearer on Instagram.
Good. Can you say that slowly for the people? They might be writing it down.
Yeah. Damon, Damon, J. Shearer, Shearer, one who shears a sheep. Please note that all of my platforms are private because I teach high school students and they are savvy people. And so if you send me a request, maybe send me a DM or something to tell me where you heard, where you found me from, and that way I can accept your request. But Instagram is probably the best way to find me.
Excellent. Thank you once again, all the way from California, USA.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And I want to thank all of you for listening in today to Glass Half Full, a safe platform for everyone to share their life experiences. Once again, I'm your host, Chris Levens. Please subscribe, follow, and rate this podcast for more learning experiences. Until next time, be blessed.